Colleagues and listeners, here we are again, and it's another little session with a good friend of the show and somebody who we're covering quite extensively at the moment, Raoul Paul, founder and MD of Cargo Hub. Raoul, we've gone through several of your modules, and I must say, having a deeper look into it, I think they're very effective, very easy to use, and will be of great benefit. The one we'd like to finish up with today is your ULD module. Now, ULDs. Everybody knows what they are, why they have to use them. Very few people treat them with the respect they deserve. And then there's even more hassles with demurrage and location and who's doing what with them, whether there's serviceability checks, whether people actually appreciate how to handle them in the warehouse and what happens with them when they leave the warehouse. So briefly, if you could just give us a little insight into your world of ULD.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. Yeah, ULD and the applications around it, that's not something new. But still, even though in the current days, when ULDs are being operated and moved between the ground handling stage, the ground handler, the airline, and the freight forwarder, we experienced during a 2-year business research, which we have done over the past 2 years, or even a little bit longer back, that a lot of paperwork is still involved in the ULD operations. And basically, the angle was that when ULDs were handed over from the airline or the ground handler to the freight forwarder, that's where an area, a gray area starts. So it's about how many ULs have been delivered to a certain freight forwarder, how many days, and all the actions around it. So basically, we looked into this area and defined a lot of areas in the process where a lot of paperwork is still involved. The return deliveries, for example, the lack by a lot of freight forwarders who are dealing with in-tech ULDs about recording or checking in the ULD properly in a digital manner, where also the quality assurance aspects in regard to serviceability is being recorded, and obviously at the same time also the time. The overview for freight forwarders on how long they're already using a certain ULD within their warehouse. So a lot of lack of visibility and control, I would say. As a result, a lot of paperwork, Excel sheets being created, needs to be signed off when ULDs are being delivered back to the ground handler. So to wrap up, basically that was our development angle, and from there, a lot of stuff has been identified where we can simplify the process of the recovery of ULDs, which we have been doing with a major airline, luckily for already more than 1.5 years now. And surprisingly enough, in today's business and operation, there are a lot of areas in the ULD segment where we can deliver a more efficient way of resolving ULD control.
Yeah, I can ask you now, because obviously there's big parties involved in ULD pooling, and everybody's got their own issues, and if people have got their own ULD team or whatever, it's the same principles. You've got a certain degree of commercial bias, and then you've got a certain degree of operational anchoring, and there needs to be a little more coming together. So the transparency of statistics and data helps that. But why do you think, even after all the efforts that have gone into it, that ULDs are still being mishandled, still being left out, with people who might not have the qualification or the training capability to handle them correctly or as they should be? Why do you think that's still an acceptable problem?
I think that the ULD control process has been managed for many years, which I can understand, by legacy systems. That's one. And also the lack of data exchange between parties involved in dealing with ULDs was not up to a certain level where the problems which you just identified can be resolved from a process perspective. So, for example, you just mentioned the lack of proper handling of ULDs. So, for example, with a mobile device, if a ULD is being moved from a certain location, or I would say it's much more easier to capture the movement of a ULD being moved from one certain location. So also for the build-up, for example, of a ULD, you could now use a mobile device. You could allocate a ULD,
Yeah.
and the data then would automatically be updated in the system from an airline, for example. But if you include the compliance aspects which are important for the ULD buildup, and in your mobile app you would say, okay, going to build up a pallet. You enter the pallet number, and then before you start building up, you are being forced to with a checklist in the mobile app. You are
Yeah.
being forced to comply with a certain checks. Is the ULD damaged? The corners are the locks
Yeah.
intact? So basically, you're forcing the people to contribute to a higher quality of execution of dealing with ULDs. So that's one. And the second thing is that by using, for example, these kind of technology, you will be able to capture this data
Yeah.
being a part of the movement in the system itself. So for every movement or for every ULD buildup executed in the example I just shared with you, you're not only able to see that a ULD went out with a certain flight. Now you're also able to validate and to verify that the checks which are important to ensure the quality of proper ULD handling
Yeah.
have been executed. And even with a mobile app, you can even make a picture. So if it's not serviceable, or if there is any discrepancy, for example, and don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert in this area, so we're more from the technology side. You can even make a picture, and the picture can be made available.
Yeah.
And to wrap up, this is my final. These are our thoughts. If there is a ULD identified as potential not being serviceable, there could be a notification sent automatically to the ULD controller, and the ULD controller will be able to validate and verify the condition of the ULD remotely because it has been entered, and then give an approval airworthy or not airworthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Airworthy. So there are a lot of things what we are currently exploring and implementing in our solution to basically support the ULD process from a more an operational perspective, and from there add more quality and value to the overall process for multiple stakeholders in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I've seen part of the module, and it's simple, it's logical, and it supports all the efforts that are being made by some of the other great companies that are looking at ULD handling and pooling, and how to advance the technology. So
Yeah,
the more the better, the simpler the better, and making
definitely.
people understand why they're being asked to do things instead
Yeah,
of, again, I keep saying, it's no good no more just telling somebody what to do every time. It's far better to teach people why they should be doing it and get them
yeah,
to understand it so they can appreciate the benefit of their work. It's also good for the individuals as well.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And can I just ask you now, you're getting good traction on the ULD module?
Definitely, there are freight forwarders already using our application for a few years. So basically, we have, I would say, learned a lot from our business partners, contributing a lot of knowledge. But most important for us is the still remaining pain points and how to resolve them. So that's what we did. And I already mentioned that we're working with quite a large cargo carrier with many ULDs currently being managed worldwide. So yeah, we have launched our product and further fine-tuned the application based on their requirements, not specifically for one airline, obviously, but within the scope of use. And to be honest, it's quite a challenging setup they're using because there are different scenarios which are not common for every airline, and our application is capable of adapting in that area. And with all the simple tools available to capture the data from multiple stakeholders in an easy way, then as a result, there was also more accurate information available for the airline, which gives them a much higher process control. And so we are they're satisfied with it. We're really happy with it, what they have confirmed recently. So yeah, we're really proud to be able to have been able to contribute in this area, and we will keep going. We're not done yet.
No, good, good, good. And as you say, you're not done yet, but what's been done,
Yeah,
looks very, very good, Raoul. So, I'm sure all the people that are involved and hold ULDs close to their hearts will be pleased once they have a look and see what your module is able to deliver.
thank you
Good
so
luck,
much.
sir. It's good what
Thank
you're
you so
doing.
much.
And like I said, with the rest of your stable of products, you've got a good paddock in hand there. So well done, you.
Thank you so much, Chris.